What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Special guest in the building, needs no introduction. And you know what? This guy's scoring 30-odd bangers. I don't know what's happened, man. Bird Ryan in the building. What are you saying, bro?
I'm calm, Curtis, man. What are you saying, man? Allow me, man.
Hey, talk to me about that goal, man.
Oh, bro, it's a shame we lost in it. Shout out to Oakwood because they won in the cup, but I just banged it, bro. It's like I just thought we're on the counter. We ain't had enough shots. Someone's got to shoot in it. Let me do this thing. It's like it gets like that, and that's 2-2 now. I'm trying to play. I'm trying to get an England call up. Still, I can't lie.
I'm telling you, man. Late call up at right back. You might get in the Arsenal team the way we're moving at right back.
Hey, unlike Maitland Niles, I'm happy to play when required, man. I'm on the El Nene thing. I'll just be cool, ready to pick up the paycheck still.
Yeah, man. But no, a pleasure to have you here, bro. For everyone in the comments, man, I took a day off yesterday. Sometimes you just have to recharge a little bit, man. You know how it gets, bro. But listen, let's talk. Things are happening. Transfer rumors are warming up. I'm sure you've covered it as well on your own channel. But Granit Xhaka, you know, Mourinho. I told man about Mourinho, you know. He may not have come and been the manager, but he's going to take some of our deadwood off our hands, man. What are you saying about Xhaka to Roma?
Well, obviously, I want him to like. I don't think Xhaka should be in the team as much as he is, anyways. In it, like I think with Xhaka it's good because he's kind of toxic. Like I don't think he's as bad as his critics make out. I don't think he's as great as his fanboys make out. I think he's a decent player, and I would like to see a proper partner for Partey. So I'm happy to see him linked because it forces the club to not be comfortable and actually find a replacement because we needed midfielders on the best of days. We do now. What kind of concerns me is that regardless of your opinion on Xhaka, I think people can see he does bring something to the table. Whether that's of the level we require and whatnot's another story. When he's not involved, there's a problem. Now, when somebody is vital to the side, like I said, we can all agree he shouldn't be. But when someone's as vital to the team as that, and on the best of days, you need to move him on or use him in a less significant role, and you haven't, now that you kind of need to make a decision, are you going to bring in that replacement? Because as much as people don't like him, and I might not be his biggest fan, 3 different managers have made him vital to the side. Maybe that's where they all went wrong, but the club should have known that, and they need to bring someone in my opinion, guys.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that because someone messaged me and they were like, "Oh, I bet you're delighted that Xhaka is leaving." And I said, the funny thing about Xhaka is when you look at the options we've got now, he's the next one after Thomas Partey. If you was building a tier list of who is, you know, top dog to the bottom one, I would have rather probably sold El Neni and sold, you know, players like that. But the problem you got with Xhaka, he's the Swiss captain. We paid 35 million. He's got a big ego. He's not going to accept being a squad player at Arsenal.
2 years left as well.
Yeah, 2 years left. So you've got to sell him, really. I think the problem we've got is how much are we going to get for him? We're hearing rumors that Roma offered 10 million plus 5 million in add-ons. Seeing reports that they're willing to pay 15 million plus 2 million in add-ons. I mean, 17 million for Xhaka, would you just take it and keep it moving, or would you, you know, fight for a little bit more?
Obviously, that first offer is probably just in terms of, you know, gamesmanship and agreeing the deal. Obviously, if we don't get 30 million back on him, it's an L. But with the COVID market, with the need to rebuild and whatnot, I would say we probably do need to just take the money. It's funny because you made a great point. Regardless of your opinion on Xhaka, there's a couple of players in and around the squad you'd probably move on to make funds way before you have that decision. Granted, Xhaka could be moved on, but you probably let him ride out next season and then look to sell him if not now. So obviously, it's probably not going to be our money back, so it's an L in that regards. But everybody says we need to sell before we can buy. So if you can get rid of a couple and bring in a better player or so, regardless of the names that's been mentioned, who isn't going to be for that, bro?
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think people have to bear in mind this COVID market, and also when a club knows you want to sell players, and Arsenal, everyone in Europe knows Arsenal want to sell, so if Xhaka's worth 25 or whatever, 20, they're going to offer you 12. They're going to offer you 14. They know you need to sell him. I mean, Chris Wheatley said here, Arsenal have set a price of 20 million for Granit Xhaka, who is willing to leave. Roma are confident of a deal, reported by DiMarzio. Arsenal need to sell before they can buy. 60 million in sales targeted, and then talks about Buendia and that. I mean, does that worry you when it says Arsenal need to sell before they can buy?
Obviously, yes, because we've known that for years, but to a degree, no, because again, last season should have been the season for this great reset and these tough decisions and these difficult moves, because we won the FA Cup and the manager just came in at a time. So these things need to happen. Clearly, in my opinion, with Granit Xhaka, whatever his reason, I think he wants to leave more than the club want him to be moved on, because he's vital to the team, because several managers have used him. He might have even said something like, I want to go last year. Like maybe he hasn't forgot what happened January last year. He said, you know what, Gaffer, I'll give you professionalism and that until the end of the season, but I want to keep it moving. 60 million, it does feel a bit realistic if we're going and setting a precedent of 20 mil for him and whatnot. You made a great point of clubs knowing we need to sell, but this is the environment we're in. One thing that gives me kind of confidence about this deal is clearly Xhaka's forcing it, and you hear a lot of rumors about he wants it sorted before the Euro. So again, he wants to go into that tournament without speculation so he can just focus on the game. So it worries me and it excites me, because these are the decisions I want to see Arsenal make. But also, again, on the best of days, we haven't looked to upgrade the midfield. Whatever you say about Xhaka, he's currently vital. Are we going to look to get in there? Because we should have been looking for this midfielder to play with Partey last year. So it feels like we can do 60 million. I don't know for that. It comes down to how good of hustlers we are, really and truly, because I personally believe the market, it's not necessarily how good the player necessarily is. It's what you can finesse. I'm sure we've all got examples of players at other clubs that shouldn't have been bought for whatever money they was at the time. So it is what it is. Considering his age, he probably wants a decent contract. You know, he's got a young family. A lot of people, we all probably have said at some point, he probably would be better in Italy and whatnot. So do his thing, man, if that's what he wants to do, because we just need man that want to be here. You know, we don't always have to get onto a player, bro, when we hear he wants to leave. It is what it is, but minimum commitment levels to this cause next season, man.
Do you know, there's a couple of things I want to ask you about this Xhaka situation. Do we worry that these players want to leave us? Or do you just look at like, listen, I want Xhaka out, whether he wants out or we push him out, it doesn't matter? Or do you look at it and think, hang on a minute, you know, David Luiz, they're saying, didn't want to stay. Willian doesn't want to stay. You know, there was talk of Leno, Bellerin, you know. Does it bother you that these guys actually want to get out of Arsenal?
Bro, I mean, I sound like a broken record. On all my live streams, I've even cut up an individual clip yet to come out in this topic. Me and you have spoken about it on your channel, my channel, privately and publicly. Again, I'm in both hands in that, because if you want a man out or you want the club to rebuild, you don't really care how it's done or whatever in it, just as long as it's done. But at the same time, it questions the mentality, because I feel there is a big difference. As you said, them names there, do they want to leave or do we want them out? Because you can make reasons for and against. Willian, again, as he looked at it, I thought I was in for an easy ride, and I am, but I actually have to play well. I don't really want this. David Luiz, with the age he's at, fair play. He's got a lot to consider, but that goes back to last season. Obviously, Luiz in the season that's just gone was probably one of our better players, but we probably shouldn't have even given him a new contract, you know. So we're clearly not of the thinking where we're saying, listen, make your decision, but next season we're doing this. It seems like every week we're asking, how you feeling? What are you on then? These players at the ages they're at, regardless of their opinion, they're allowed to focus on their futures. But it does worry you, because it does feel, even if players aren't performing, they are making these decisions rather than we're doing it for them, really, because they don't want to. Xhaka wants to. I think Xhaka wants to go more than the club want him to go, if that makes sense. Yeah,
totally agree. The funny thing is, I could see Xhaka doing half decent in Italy with Mourinho. He's a bit of a Nemanja Matic, I suppose, not as tall, but you know what I mean. That slower tempo in Italy, I think he would do all right over there. So I think it works for everyone if Xhaka goes, and apparently Mourinho's a big fan of it.
Of course he's going to be a fan of him. You know, he said it 2 years ago. He's the glue or something that connects Arsenal's midfield. So it'll be good for him. He'll have a new way of life. I'm sure he can ask his ex-teammate Mustafi what Italy's like. So it makes sense. And for me, regardless what you think about Mourinho, you've played under Wenger. The opportunity to say you've been managed by Jose Mourinho. When are you going to get them many opportunities at the age he's at? Next season, he'll be, 29? You've got to make a decision. So if you can get a 3-4 year deal, decent money, go to Italy and all of these things, it would make sense. It would really make sense for him. It makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, you make a good point there, man. For a guy like Xhaka, man, to be able to say he played for Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho, man, he's done well for himself. He's done well. And definitely hasn't been the success that we needed him to be at Arsenal, man. That's for sure. Marshall said here, peace, DG and Big C. Unrelated to Arsenal, your thoughts on Konate joining Liverpool? Do you guys rate him? What's your thoughts on him?
I rate Konate still, man. It's a shame that he's gone to Liverpool. Agendas are going to have to start. But I just think if he stays clear of injuries, he could be a very decent defender, man. He's fairly composed on the ball. Still a bit raw in aspects, but he's a decent player still. I like him, man. Liverpool fans should be excited as to having a player like that. And eventually, I'm sure they're all talking about one day Van Dijk and him as a partnership when it all settles and whatnot. But like Darren said, the man's a beast, man. I thought he was better than Upamecano at the time. And I guess they're both moving to two different teams. We'll see in that regards in a year or so.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I remember the year when Arsenal were pursuing Upamecano. I think it was the year we bought Pepe. And I remember seeing reports that like Leipzig were asking for like 80 million and things like that. And then when these guys end up leaving, it's like 35 million light work, you know. Arsenal, like, I just think we're so out of touch with the transfer market. We seem to get bumped when we buy players, and when we sell them, we get lowballed. Like, why do you think we're so bad in the transfer market in that way?
Because we ain't got the hustlers off the pitch, man. I'm seeing people buy Sigurdsson for 50 mil. So, someone at Liverpool swindled someone for Brewster. They swindled someone for Solanke. We need more cowboy builders at this club, man. Doing fake deals and whatnot. It's about the hustlers. And this is where it all comes down to the same page. You look at Chelsea. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel's a good manager, but he has to succeed because of the pressure. But away from him, Mourinho and all these people, they're getting deals for their players. They even saying to Tomori, listen, AC Milan, if they go back on their word, they're not having you really and truly. So it's all about wanting the best. And it's just bad practices, bro, because for me, we've spoken about it before. We talk about being self-financing, but we don't get good deals on our players. You always need an exit strategy. You always need to know young players that aren't going to make it here. Let's make some guala. You know, Tammy Abraham apparently is not signing a little deal. They're going to make a decent change on him. If they ever said, you know what, we're selling Billy Gilmore, we're selling Mount, they'll never do it. How much are they making for these players? Loftus-Cheek hasn't quite made it, but they're making money because they want to. They understand that they need to do that. Until we do, we're not going to do a madness. This is why we have a mess of negotiating contracts. Look at fair play. We did it with Aubameyang, Saka and Balogun. We got there, whatever anyone thinks in the end, but it's another drama. You know, nobody quite does that last season drama, contract stuff like us. It's always a player that's deals running out. So we'll see, man. But it's people off the field, man. It's the hustlers off the field.
Yeah, that Michael Edwards at Liverpool, man, he's unbelievable when it comes to transfers. We just haven't got that guy. And this is where Edu worries me because you're going into a very difficult transfer market. You know, there's not a lot of money out there. People are, any prized asset that they've got, they're going to try and get the most money. They're going to hang on to them. Is Edu the man to turn up and say, give me that player? Like we said before the other day, we were joking that, you know, for Brazil, he was booking the flights and the hotels. Man was just a coordinator. Like, we're going to make this man director of football. It's a big summer for Arsenal in the transfer market. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit worried about the situation. What do you think about the summer?
I mean, I'm worried at face value because as a fan, I'm not there. I'm sure if you speak to anyone at the club, they've got a plan. There's a process. There's all of these elements of we know what we're doing. But for me, I never look at just one man. Edu's the face. What's the team saying? Because all the positive examples, you know, somebody said Overmars. I'm sure Overmars is a bad boy at this stuff in his own regards, but he's only as good as his team. We all know how long it actually is to get a transfer done and the many things that go into it. So how can you dedicate your time towards getting this player in? This guy might be in France. You want to chat to this guy in South America. This player who's playing at the Copa America and based for the season in Spain wants to leave. You need to have a whole team. It's too much for one man. And I just feel what they've done to Arsenal fans, they look at one man to be the messiah. They looked at Arteta when we was winning FA Cup. They looked at Emery. You know, they looked at Wenger. They thought Mislintat and Raul and all these guys are going to change things. One man can't change this. It all comes down to, for me, the practices, bro. It's just the collective effort. And it does worry me because you look same way with Arteta. Whatever I say about Edu, if you employ a novice in any sort of walk of life, you have to surround him with people who have kind of went the journey. He's done it several times and can tell him the road. They know the back of the roads like the back of their hands. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know. Like, again, really and truly, you know, ball, you've played at a top level. Correct me if I'm wrong. The bulk of transfer deals are being done in the winter months. People are doing up their list. They're not waking up today and saying we're going to sign him, we're going to sign that. Obviously, there's rare occasions, but it's just singing from the same hymn sheet. And we talk about being collaborative. We're not doing it properly, in my opinion, at face value.
Yeah, you make a great point there. I get the impression with Mikel Arteta, because you see with Solskjaer, he brought in Mike Phelan. I think with Arteta, he's so kind of like self-assured that I almost think he doesn't want someone with experience who's telling him this is kind of how we do it. Because you look at all them guys around him, and I feel like they look like they're all just like, oh, yes, Mr. Arteta, like, we'll go along with whatever you say. We're just happy to be at Arsenal. I just feel like he's that, so he thinks he's going to be like the new Pep. He don't want no one to tell him nothing, but I don't know, man, with Arteta, man. But yeah, in terms of Edu, it definitely worries me in this transfer market. Someone saying self-assured or low self-esteem. I mean, I suppose we'll find out.
I don't think he's lacking esteem still. That's one thing I'll give him.
Them press conferences, but he ain't lacking. Just wanted to show this quick for anybody who, you know, are Arsenal better off without Xhaka? We score more, we concede less when he doesn't play. So, do we miss him that much if he goes?
Can't lie. As much as I see this, I can't lie. A fairer paint of Xhaka would be if they've included some build-up play stats and all of them sort of stats to be fair to Xhaka. I don't think he's quite the level, but I don't think that's being quite fair to him. But I don't think if you're asking me, do I think Xhaka should be in the starting lineup? 100% not. Yeah, as much as he is. But yeah, that's Gazy still.
Listen, I've got a big question for you here, and everyone in the comments, especially you. This is more for you. Are you buying that or not?
Hey man, the yellow one got me still. I can't.
The yellow one drew you out, man. You seen that cannon? You couldn't resist.
Yeah, that one's looking a bit wavy. I can't cap. I can't. Let me stop looking at it. Take it off the screen, bro. But it's looking. They got me, man. Don't be like me, man.
I can see you wearing this at Carnival, mate. I'm telling you,
I can see the DG13 on the back, man. You don't be like me, man. Keep the fight up, man. Keep the fight up, man. Liam, Dilly, keep the fight up, man. I'm with you. I've got infected, man. I'm gone. It's the I Am Legend thing. I'm gone. You lot keep it up, man.
It's just you and the dog, man, walking around, you know.
Like that is, bro. Our club is mad because how did they keep tricking me with these kits, like? It's wavy. Like we're gonna you wear it and lose at a bad thing next year, but it's wavy. Oh man,
how are we making these fire kits and we're mid-table? It's mad.
It's mad.
What world we live in? Making kits like that for El Neni, and you know what's the point?
El Neni caught a stray. Damn.
Yeah, he caught a stray. I'm sorry, Mo, but you know we're emotional right now. You know.
Yeah, but it's nothing personal. It's just business.
Nothing personal, man. Yo, but listen, I've had a couple shows this week and a few things about management. Couple big managers in the game have become available this week.
I know where you're going with this one. I think I know one specific man that you've been on still.
Boy, you know. But listen, we're going to talk about two of them. Obviously, Allegri's took the Juventus job. I think that Simeone and Zaghi's took the Inter Milan job. Zidane and Antonio Conte.
There we have his name.
There it is. I've done videos about him. For me, and I said this before the other day, but I want to know your opinion. Conte, for me, is top 5 managers in world football. That would be my opinion, right? He's gone to Chelsea, won the league a year after they finished 10th, wins the FA Cup, goes to Inter Milan, Juventus, 8 titles in a row, and he wrestles it off.
In 11 years or something, innit?
Something like that. And with him being out of work, does it ask a question of Josh Kroenke that, listen, I mean, people saying they could end up at Madrid, but apparently they're being linked with other managers as well. If he doesn't get the Madrid job, should Josh be making a phone call and just saying, listen, I'm not saying you'll come here, but what would it take for you to come to this club?
Oh, it's what everybody knows. As you lot know with Conte, you know, he's very demanding of the board. You know, obviously, I'm sure he would love to stay at Inter and build on the team. They said they have to sell players and make peas and doing whatever. He said, fair enough, I'm not on that. He's very demanding. He's done it at Juventus, Chelsea and Inter. So man say, hey, man. Hey, we have to. It's off season, so Nathan, I'll be there still.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, it wouldn't last long, fam, because you asked the question, what would it take if you're Conte to know there's money and there's a serious project? It's not gonna happen. So that one there's a myth, and he'll draw them out. He's not gonna do the Arteta thing. He will draw them out in their own, in the same technically that they pay to keep the electricity bill. And Conte will talk up the things in the press conference. I want a centre half. I spoke with Edu at 9 o'clock on Monday, date, and he said no. This is what I require. Conte's not on it. It's probably like Carlo. I'm sure when he calls, he'll listen to Arsenal. He'll want to come, but when he breaks it down to the nuts and bolts, he's not on it. Conte and actually Poch have said, they talk about rebuilds a lot, and Conte always talks about the need to make very hard calls when you've just obviously needed to rebuild. He wanted to do that at Inter. You can't go from Inter to not being in anything at Arsenal right now, and it's just the mentality is not serious, man. I would love it, but he's not serious, man. And that's it as well. Antonio, who? You don't know him. Probably thinks he's a movie star or something.
Yeah, Antonio Banderas or something. Them ones. Nah, man. Do you know what it is like? I sit there sometimes though, and I think, well, hang on a minute now. So we moved stadium. We got the Adidas deal. We got the mad support. We got all this. You're telling me we can't buy none of the top players in the world. We're out of the running for them guys. And now you're telling me any manager, top manager that's available, we can't go for them either. Like, look, I'm not saying he goes to Tottenham, but there are some rumours saying that they are trying. They even was saying there was a meeting between him and Daniel Levy. Like, how can Tottenham be looking at this guy, but Arsenal were just dismissing it straight away? No chance. I mean, does that say a lot about the board, really?
Yeah, because we're content with what we're doing, really. I'd say that, really. Yeah, you said it. I can't add on anything you said. You wrapped it up there perfectly, Curtis. I can't lie.
Where would you put him in terms of managerial levels? Would you put him top 5?
I need to on the spot. It's tough, but for me, as long as Pep Guardiola's managing, it will be the benchmark. I think people have to respect what Jurgen Klopp's brought to the table.
100.
It's a difficult one, because there's a couple guys like the Zidanes and the Hansi Flicks. I'm not sure where I stand on them tactically, but what they've achieved right now, you probably throw them in. Conte therefore could get thrown in the debate, but I think there's only 2 non-debatables for me with the top 5. It'll probably be Conte. Conte. It'll be Pep and Klopp. Anyone else is subjective, really.
Obviously, the other guy we mentioned, Zidane. I mean, I'm not even really talking about him because all the stories are saying that he wants a year out the game. He's exhausted and this, that, the other. But if Zidane was available, I mean, listen, I don't think he would come to Arsenal. But do you rate Zidane? Because I did a show once talking about Zidane and the comments were completely split. Half of the guys were like, won the Champions League 3 times, amazing, get him. The other 50% were like, he's only good when he's got Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not a great manager. What's your thoughts on Zidane as a manager?
I mean, he's clearly a good manager. You don't win them Champions Leagues as a fluke. He has won the league title as well. The second return to Madrid didn't quite work. So he's clearly got some credentials. Now, I'm probably a bit ignorant, but I'm not a Madrid fan, so I wasn't watching week in, week out. I know he does the tactical thing, but I don't really know too much about him from a tactical point of view. The vibe I get is he's someone that can work with egos. He can keep a squad together. He can kind of harness what everybody's good at and that sort of thing. So I'm a bit split. I think he's clearly a good manager, but I just don't know enough about him, if I'm honest. He's clearly good tactically because you don't do that with you don't achieve the Champions League with that. But yeah, man, I think he's clearly a good manager, but yeah, I don't think he's quite at the top for me.
No, not quite. No. Big up Michael with a super chat saying Tuchel's better than Conte. Conte's European record is poor. Tuchel has hit 2 Champions League finals in a row.
Depends what you want, man.
Yeah, not for me. I hear what you're saying about Europe, but ultimately he lost. Well, he lost the first one. Let's see what happens on Saturday with the Champions League. But hey, Big C, would you take Poch? I mean, what do you make of the whole Poch story? Can you see him returning to Tottenham? I saw you did a video about him as well.
Yeah, I mean, for Poch, I don't think Spurs should have let him go. I'd only go back in. For me, if I'm him, get past the romance of me making Spurs feared and whatnot as much as they can be. Still no trophies. I got to do it, Spurs fans. I think he's got to ask Levy. Yeah, bro, he's got to ask Levy, what am I here for? There was clearly a disagreement last time. Like, are you giving me money? Is there a rebuild? Kane might bust out. There's an over-reliance on Son. We've got to get a bit more out of Ndombele. The back line, Loris and Toby are not going to be here forever. Davidson looks a bit shaky. Are we going to rebuild this thing properly? Like, if we're not, I'm not on it. And it really has to be something to want to bust out PSG, though. Can't lie.
Yeah, there's got to be a problem there. Let me just do the thing. Don't forget, the video is sponsored by OneFootball. Link in the description below. You know the thing, people. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to DG's channel as well.
Appreciate that, bro.
Listen, we're shameless Arsenal fans right now, but probably the best time of Arsenal's season was David De Gea missing that penalty on Wednesday night. Because at least it gave us, when you're with your friends this summer and you're with Man United fans.
Just terrorize, man.
At least we can terrorize them and say, you
abuse them on the WhatsApps and get at them. And yeah, man.
What did you make? I know you did the watch along as well. I was doing it. I was bored stiff, I got to be honest.
First half, I was dead, bro.
Penalties were exciting. I couldn't have asked for a better way for them to lose that game. Like, it was just so funny. Like, what did you make of that final? What do you think about United losing that game and Emery winning his fourth Europa League?
I mean, shout out to Emery. In the same way Spurs lack winning trophies, we've got bad luck in the sense of it would be Emery to get to a final and not win it with us. But congratulations to Emery. I wanted him to win. Obviously, I didn't want United to win. I think it confirms what we know about Emery. It's like when he hasn't really, I don't want to say there's no difficult characters at Villarreal, but when he's kind of with the underdog thing at a team with, they expect to turn up in a final, but not with the expectation. He's good with harnessing the group. And I think the tactics were spot on. I think man to a man, they worked. I think they've done well to take the lead, stay in the game at 1-1. They all practice penalties. All their penalties were emphatic. But like you said, man, doing the watch along, I was genuinely, I would have got done like Robbie with some of the memes people because I was going to fall asleep on the watch along. For the first time ever, I was going to go to bed. First half was dead. United's just very slow. Don't know where or what Bruno Fernandes was trying to do. I think Pogba's picking up the ball and there's nothing on really. Just terrible final. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 100 minutes taking long with subs, just doing mad stuff. It was, like you said, it was lovely. It was lovely because as a fan, you hoped Leicester did their job against Chelsea. You hope City do and you hope United lost. And we've got it all, man, but it was tired. And you could see, I don't know, how did you feel when you saw De Gea take the pen? Because I speak to everyone. It's like when you saw the way he was moving and standing, you just knew he was going to miss that.
For me, as a penalty, goalkeepers practice kicking the ball every day. They should be able to strike a ball better than anyone. So I'm thinking, just hit it with power. Do you know what I mean? Just hit it with power. You're only 12 yards away. When the man's side footing it in the bottom corner, like he's just trying to finesse it in the bottom corner, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And I think what you have to think, and I always say this with penalties are more about the pressure than the technical ability. You see man like De Bruyne missing penalties, with mad techers because they can't handle the pressure. When has David De Gea been in a pressure situation like that? Probably never in his whole career. I think he just bottled it. I think he took the wrong type of penalty. You saw the way the Villarreal keeper took it, just whack it.
I don't think he did his homework either, bro. And because he's not getting nowhere near the penalties, really and truly. It's like you're not doing your homework. And I don't want to have it against him, but I'm sure my United brethren were telling me De Gea hasn't got the best record with saving pens. Apparently, Dean Henderson's better in that regard. So it could have been a sub in the keeper thing. Obviously, I don't want to sound reactionary, but I don't know.
Gio, big up Gio with a super chat. He says, big up Curtis and DG, just trying to save money on buying kits now because the resale over the years will be high. Tomorrow got snubbed for the Euros. Yeah,
Trust me.
Gio's a big AC Milan fan. How Tomori didn't get picked over a man like Connor Cody. He just finished second in Serie A. I think they got 17 clean sheets this season.
Well, are you surprised, bro? Because when I say this, I'm having deja vu because it's like we spoke about this. I don't want to say they're not watching international football because Trippier's in the lineup, but it took forever to kind of bring in Jude Bellingham. For me, it took forever to bring in Jadon Sancho. So I can't be surprised that a man's in Italy, they're not calling him up. It feels a bit like man are being picked for some other reasons because you've got Lewis Dunk. I know it's not international, but Lewis Dunk should have been in the 33 in my opinion. He might not be glamorous, but he deserves it. Tomori don't deserve that. I rate Ben Godfrey, and I'm not against him, but he kind of fell off to a bit in the second half of the season. Does Connor Cody really deserve to be there?
I don't think so.
Exactly. It's like you said, Tomori got done dirty, man. He needs to just try. I think he just needs to play for Nigeria and get rated, man, because he should be playing international football to some degree, man. And he's earned it. Mings, with all due respect, is Mings better than him?
No, I don't think so. Do you know what? Would you... If he doesn't sign for Milan, would you take Tomori at Arsenal?
Nah, obviously on ability I would, but I just feel what goes against him. Obviously, he's in Italy and age doesn't matter, but I just think we need a 20, 26, 27, 30-year-old just bridge centre half, someone that can kind of hold the hands of Saliba and Gabriel. That would be it for me, man. But on ability, man, Tomori's decent.
I mean, there's a
Better
bit
than
of
some of what we got. Why not?
Here's bit of breaking news on Sky. Man United back in talks with Dortmund for Sancho. I think we all knew this deal was going to probably happen.
And they just hurry up with it.
They're saying 80 million this season as well. I mean, Sancho, what do you think about him going to United? He's probably going to play on the right. He's played a bit on the left this season for Dortmund as well. Do you think he should have waited for a different club, or is he just desperate to get out of Dortmund?
I mean, he's a bad boy footballer, and as much as United are not where they are, I know he might not necessarily been a United fan, but they're still a big club to sign for, man. He's been linked with them and Liverpool. I'm sure he's on joining all of them clubs. You know, Chelsea, if they bidded it. I'm sure he wants to come home at some point because, again, Bellerin's not the best example, but he ain't played for a Spanish club. You can't. Yeah. I'm sure he grew up wanting to play in the Premier League when he was in the estates in Kenton. So he wants to make a move, and it's something that they've been flirting for you. It must feel very good when regardless of what a club's doing, they want you. Like they've been pursuing you for a year. So I think he would be good there. I'll back him. I'm a big fan of Jadon Sancho. It's a shame he'd sign for United, but you look at the structure of United and you get the feeling that when they sign, man, it's not really going to make too much of a difference until they pack the manager and whatnot. Because, I mean, they got Paul bloody Pogba. Like, people forget how sick he is. So, that it is what it is in that regards.
You know what was funny, right? The other day, obviously, that watch-along that we did, I thought Rashford, Pogba, and Bruno in particular, them three were horrendous in that game. But I actually had more of a problem with Bruno and Pogba's performance than Rashford's because... do you know why? Let me tell you why.
Rashford was tired. Bruno was the worst.
Let me tell you why. Rashford had a stinker, right? I'm not denying it. He had a shocking game. He should have been taken off. I've got more of a problem with Pogba and Bruno because they didn't do anything in the game. At least Rashford tried to get the ball, tried to shoot, tried to take people on, but it just didn't happen for him. You have them days in football where nothing just works. I'm sitting there going, yo, where's Bruno? I ain't seen him. Like I forgot he was on the pitch at one stage. Pogba just gets dragged off, and I'm just like, these man, like, and they say with Bruno as well, a bit of a stat merchant, comparing him to De Bruyne, and I'm just like, yo, man. But all three of them were bad. What was worse is 2 days before I did an England team for the Euros, and I put Rashford in it. And then he goes and plays like that. Made me look like a proper, you know what I mean?
Made you look like you want to retract the statement and that.
I thought, I might have to delete that video still, but nah. It was a mad performance, man. But hey, I'm glad they lost.
Rashford still goes for me. Still, I can't lie, but it's like for me, I actually like Rashford a lot. It's just he's one of them footballers. It's a pain watching him because the decision making is that of a child, in my opinion. Like you shouldn't. You've played enough games now. You're passing when you should shoot, shooting when you should pass. I think Bruno was the worst out of the three. I think Pogba was hard done by. Everybody was poor, but I just feel when Pogba's picking up the ball, he's on the halfway line. They've got a low block. There's no movement. He's already out of it. So I think it was Meaty, but I think Bruno was the worst because I only saw Bruno when he's bitching with the referees. I'm sure we all saw that dive he tried to do, again, after the game when he's crying. I just think that you're meant to be the captain and you didn't even put yourself about. Like, it was tired. I think Bruno had a stinker. One of the worst out of all of them, really. When McTominay plays better than arguably all three, then there's something seriously wrong.
You're right. I think he was their best player, to be honest.
He smashed work yesterday. Well, I say yesterday, you know what
I mean? Hector Bellerin being linked with Real Betis now. I didn't realize he's a big Real Betis fan, but they're saying it could be on loan with an option to buy. Would you let Bellerin go under them circumstances, or has it got to be straight cash?
I mean, it's always going to be something like that, really and truly. If he's a big fan, what you're kind of hoping, he's a big fan, he's playing in Spain, family aspect, you see a good season from Bellerin. Maybe he could come back. Me personally, I would like to see Bellerin play well out on loan to the point where either Betis or other clubs are interested. He'd have a year left on his deal, get him out. I'll try everything to let him go permanently now, but I mean, all these clubs linked with him, PSG, Barcelona, Juventus, they're always linked with him, and clearly they don't come to the fore. I'd love to see it. Betis, do they have the piece? Do Betis really want him, or is it because that Emerson brother is going to Barca? I don't know until I see something else.
It's funny, a lot of stories are now starting to come out about like the loan players, the players that Arsenal have loaned out this season. One that it's funny, there was a mixed report, whether it's true or not, but Arsenal being linked with this guy from Bayer Leverkusen, and there's talk of
Shabola or something. I can't pronounce his name, but centre half.
Yeah, they were talking about potentially a Saliba swap deal. Do you think Arteta fully believes in Saliba for next season?
I'm not sure if he believes in him, but I think that one there's nonsense because all the language you hear at the club is he's going to be given a chance. And, you know, it'd be very stupid for Arsenal to sell him whether they get their money back or not without giving him an opportunity. So I don't think he's as... do you know what? I actually agree with a lot of what Arteta says about Saliba. I just feel the handling of the guy has been terrible. Like we've woken up overnight, messed about with him, with his development, and he's been missing for about 4 or 5 seasons and 4 or 5 months, and he's playing well now. So I think it's just that. I just feel fans need to stop looking at him. You know, when you got a man with potential, because they do it with Martinelli, we get so romanticized by what they're going to be when they're 26, 7, international and things. We don't look at what they are today and the journeys. For him to get there, not that I want him to play bad, he's going to have them calamitous moments. It even happens with Fofana. He's had a great season, but how many times have you watched him and he's had that sort of stuff? So hopefully he gets it, man. But the facility, it has to be right. And it's never been a better time to blood these guys, surely, the Saliba and Gabriel partnership, because you're not playing twice a week. So why not do it?
The funny thing is, you look at this season at Arsenal, and when you look at how bad it's gone, you kind of look at it and think, well, when it was going bad, would it not have been better to just keep Saliba and you develop him, you play him? He would have learned a lot from this season. You know, when Leicester buy Fofana, they're not like, well, you know, let's loan him out
in at the deep end.
Put him in, see if he's good enough. If he's good enough, it's great. If it's not, then you can ask questions. He didn't even give Saliba the opportunity to be like, let's see what you're about. He didn't even register him. So do you think at times it's lazy from Mikel Arteta to not use these players more in development?
It's the easy option. It's kind of what we was talking about before, how the experienced players kind of put trust in them. They all want to bust out. It's been the easy option, you know. Someone at this club wanted to give Mustafi a new deal. Somebody said, fuck that, and let him go. So I don't know. I have to take it at face value and say Arteta was trying to do that. So I think that's the easy option. Let's be real. Europa League in the group stages is deadpan for Arsenal. Our C team and Arsenal C team should be able to brush them. So as you said, if you're not going to play a man, throw him in the Europa League games. We really think a man we signed for 30 million can't do a mad thing against Dundalk? Really? Like there's a problem. Like there's only so much training you can do. And for me, he's just been mismanaged. Like you loaned him, you signed him, so you knew his level initially. You loaned him back out to St. Etienne, so you know you're going to be given a report. You had a somewhat pre-season to look at him, which we did. Remember, did he not play against MK Dons or something? So it's just that lax approach. And again, if that's an investment, you look after an investment. So I want to see Saliba given an opportunity, because I look at him. He's a fantastic young player. He's had some good games. He can, he's very confident on the ball, but he's very raw. And there's many aspects of his game that he will struggle with when he's thrown in at the deep end. And I want to know that we can coach that out, because if I go in relation to Gabriel, have we got some of the raw elements of Gabriel's game that me and you, even from that Fulham game, was speaking about when he scored? Yeah. I ain't really seeing them coached out per se, because we can't always be screaming Gabriel needs a more experienced man like Luiz next to him. At some point, he's got to be a leader. And arguably, if everybody these experienced man go, Gabriel's going to be somewhat a senior figure. Isn't he similar age to Tierney, away from 23. The practical experience they've had?
I just think it's strange. Yeah, like you said, you make good points there about how he manages some of these younger players. Like you look at, we know there's a personality clash with Guendouzi as well, so that's a little different. But there's never been any question marks about Saliba's attitude. And even when they talk about like, oh, we're going to bring him back for pre-season and give him a chance, like the way they're talking about it, it's like he's on trial. It's like, oh, we're going to give you a few weeks and see if you're good enough. Like, you probably won't know if he's good enough from pre-season, because you see players, they go pre-season, tear it up sometimes, and then they start the league and, it's not the same. You're not playing the same level of opposition. So I don't know, just with the Saliba situation, and obviously Guendouzi did a tweet the other day. I don't know if you see it.
Like, Emery thing.
Singing from the rooftops about Unai Emery.
That one there, just shot. I'm busting out. I don't give a crap. Like,
When I see that, I said, listen, anybody that wants Guendouzi back at Arsenal, that tweet is the end of it.
he's killed it in it. He just gone bow. Like,
Man said, Arteta, mate, bang, you're gone. I'm going Marseille. I don't care about you. You know, so
not say nothing. I'm gonna be sick in 2 years, and everyone's gonna say, "Why did Arsenal let me go?"
bruv, I see the French under-21 squad get announced. I think Guendouzi's injured at the moment, but he's the captain. And I see, like, I think Upamecano's in the under-21s, Aouar, and all these, man. And Guendouzi's in it. Guendouzi's one of them players. Yeah. If he was in France and Arsenal were linked with him, people would probably be like, yo, let's go and get him. But because he's at the club, kind of, and he hasn't managed his personality well, but it is what it is. How much do you think we could get for Guendouzi?
Really, man, we're gonna get a low ball offer, really, man. I'll probably say about 15, 20. I think we should be holding on to him to get a lot more, but he's got a year left. Arsenal paid 7, 8 odd million. I think Arsenal will take their bread back, a little change, maybe a little sell-on clause, keep it moving. But I think we'll undercut ourselves still in the long run on him.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. That tweet was a funny one, man. He went all out on Emery, man. Congrats, a trophy.
Man learned from Ozil, man. He learned how to do them Twitter fingers.
He knew exactly what he was doing, man. Moving forward, obviously, we got the Euros coming up and everything like that. Would you like to see Arsenal get some business done before? I mean, the Euros starts in 2 weeks. We haven't signed anyone yet. We're now hearing that we need to sell before we can buy. I don't see us making 60 million in sales within the next 2 weeks. You know, Arsenal take long to do everything. If we go into the Euros and we haven't really done any business yet, is that risky? Because players, surely prices are going to go up. They're going to get more difficult to buy.
Obviously, prices go up. Some players don't really want to be doing the transfer thing while the tournament's going on. But realistically, we are going to have to do business while the Euros going. That's going for everyone. And you'd imagine them being football men, they comprehended that this is going to happen, or they should have comprehended this. So it shouldn't make too much of a difference for Arteta, because I'm going to pull you up on this if it goes south, and I hope it doesn't. He's spoken about preseason. And I feel for all of the struggles, I think it would have made a great difference if Partey was brought in earlier rather than sitting on our hands with his release clause. So the better you get players in before preseason, the better. Also, at the same time, you know, several of our players are going to be at the Euros. Half the players we're trying to sell. So how much players are you going to have? So anyone we can bring in would be great, man. The better, the quicker, the better. But you look at half of them, we're linked with Buendia. If we did sign him, he's going Copa America at some period. So I'm sure, I swear they all take part in from June to July. So it's all going to be disrupted to some degree.
I mean, the funny thing is Arteta's saying, we planned who we wanted months ago. And then I sit there and I think, Leicester announcing Samare, Liverpool announcing Kanate. Why are we not? Where's our first signing then? At least he could have said, right, we'll announce one, then we've got to go and sell a few. So all this we've already spoken to everyone and we've already planned it. It don't look that planned to me from the outside.
And I mean, that's where I have to say at fan level, I have to accept what they say at face value, because obviously I'm not at the club. I can only talk on what you know. But obviously, as a fan, you're always going to get giddy when you're hearing this club's linked with that guy. You know, even certain clubs are making more effort in terms of management. You want to hear stuff. But, you know, I'm positive to hear outgoings. I would like to hear where's our signing, but I'm prepared to wait. As I told you on the last live stream, I'm actually prepared to put all my feelings aside, but come the end of the window, don't let me sit here and speak about there's no right back, there's no this, there's no that. Because if it's not, I'm not going to be happy. You know me, I'm not forgiving the club for what they said about learning our lessons from Olympiacos last year. I can't. I can only accept what you tell me at face value. And look at that tweet, man. Look at hella condescending.
You know how to win trophies. I mean, obviously, he won the FA Cup, Arteta. We can't deny that. But, you know, in Europe, I mean, the man even put the picture up of him kissing the trophy. The man who he actually knocked Arsenal out of the competition. I mean, he will never play for Arsenal again, will he?
I think it's done, man. I think it's done.
The moves lined up. Marseille, you know, he's not interested.
Shame, man.
It is a shame. It is a shame because I think he could do well in France.
Yeah, he will do well. I think it won't surprise me. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be the best player in the world, but it won't surprise me if he's at Marseille for a couple of years, gets a France cap and goes on and plays for a bigger club and just has a better career. And we think, what if? That's genuinely what I believe.
I know it's wrong, right? Because Arteta is our manager, of course. You know, I'm going to defend him while he's our manager. But as like the kind of, you know, I don't know, that side of me kind of finds this funny that he's doing that, because, you know, sometimes in football they're all a bit robotic, aren't they? Leave a club and say, oh, you know, we had a disagreement. He's just letting you know, bro, I straight up don't like this manager. Like, I'm gonna tell man that I like the old manager. I'm leaving. He's moving savage with this still. I mean, you could say it's petulance, but I find it a bit funny at the same time.
I mean, it is quite disrespectful, but it is funny. This is how I carry on when I leave Sunday League teams. So I fully like it. I love the banter. It's required, like it's needed. So I'm with it, but it's upsetting, man. And it is a bit naive, because he has said comments like, I want to see what's happening, but we all know the writing. Like you said, the writing's on the wall, man. The move's been done. The move's going to be done. He's gone, man.
Yeah, you can't. It's a savage tweet. It is. It's decent though. I rate him for it.
Arteta's on Twitter as well, so he might have even seen that.
It's funny though, because I remember one time Arteta said in a press conference he wasn't on Twitter, but he had a Twitter account at the time, unless he wasn't running it.
No, you seen that, or someone sent that to you on WhatsApp. You've seen that. He knows about that. But he's probably not even watching it. Like you said, bridges have been burnt, man. It doesn't, you know, it seemed like Arteta gave him chances and they just had a clash, man, and he's not on it.
Yeah, it's true. Moving forward, I won't keep you for too much longer, but we're talking about the strikers and the attack next season. We've struggled to score goals this year. You look at Aubameyang, had his worst season in years, absolute years. Lacazette again fails to score 15 league goals. You know, never done it since he's been at Arsenal. Balogun signs the deal. Martinelli signed a deal last year. Eddie's got a year left. What do we do with this striker situation, in your opinion? At the start of next season, who do you want starting through the middle? Who do you want, you know, in that team? Who would you move on in the summer?
I mean, realistically, if I'm completely honest with you, I'd like us to work on Martinelli playing through the middle, work on Xhaka and Pepe playing on either side. Obviously, while we get there, I would like us to try and people can say Aubameyang's finished and somewhat he has declined, but I think he could still do a somewhat sort of job. So probably give him a chance. Make a decision on Lacazette. If he doesn't want to sign a 1-year deal, then, you know, he's never had a better season of recent. I know he done well and got Player of the Year. You might as well get rid of him. So, yeah, man, make decisions. And for me, I'm scared for Balogun. I hope there's a plan, because it's all great signing the deal and seeing the tweets and everything, but it's like we're not in Europe. There's 38 games. If we fuck up this season, pardon my language, we could have minimum 40 games, you know, going out first time of asking of the Cups. How is Balogun getting minutes? Is it going to be a thing where he's coming off the bench, the occasional start? Cool. So for me, primarily Martinelli, Xhaka and Pepe, really, we might as well. But we do need to look at finding 20 league goals. Aubameyang's got till Christmas for me. And what that means is if he has 0 goals from now till Christmas, I'm not going to allow him. But I still think there's a player there and whatnot. But we do need to be shifting away from him and Lacazette long term.
Alfred said, next, Matteo's the next Balotelli. Eventually teams will back off. I mean, yeah, I suppose we'll see. In terms of, you said there about Aubameyang, who do you put more of the blame down to for his poor season? Has he been mismanaged, or has he just not been good enough?
I mean, if I'm Aubameyang, like even if it was me at Sunday League, I'd say, but I'd take all accountability. It's my fault why I'm not scoring these goals. So I'd say I'd take 60%. It's probably 50-50, but if I'm him, I'd take 60. And Arteta, like you said, there's no coincidence. Not a single attacking player has excelled consistently this season. So it's got to be on him. Even Willian has to take full accountability for having the same amount of goals as Alisson. But why is it? Because Willian talks about training and tactics and how much different it is to Chelsea. And you're not seeing a shade of the Chelsea whatnot. And he's almost... Realistically, attack shouldn't be a problem at this team. Let's be real. We've got a 72 million man. We've got a Aubameyang. It's not the best, but we should be creating chances and shooting. You know, it's a byproduct. Obviously, is how he's defending. Even when we're winning in top games, we're not winning because we're soldiers in the trenches and matching them toe to toe. We're defending half the time and capitalizing on false mistakes and whatnot. There's been exceptions to the rule, but I think we've neglected defending because so much of the priority has been improving defensively. So it is, yeah, man. I think there's a lot of blame. I'd say 50% the players and 50% Arteta, really. Arteta's got to take a lot of blame because striking shouldn't be a problem. We should be among the top goal scorers in the competition. We don't have a single player up there. We're not up there consistently as a team. It's a madness.
Big up Joshua with a super chat, said, big up Curtis and DG, my guys. Watch Guendouzi sign for a French team in January, go for free at the end of the season. I think they would definitely have to sell him now if they don't extend his contract. They can't let him run it down. But yeah, big up for the super chat. But yeah, it's interesting what you say with Aubameyang, man. I mean, even the lack of chances created. I mean, has he missed a lot of chances? He's missed some big chances in big games. But I just feel like collectively we don't create many chances anyway. Like, you don't see us. Look at that Villarreal game. We had 2 half chances.
Individual moments of brilliance. Look at the Palace game. Like, it's individual moments, man. Like,
it's not there, is it? The creative. With Granit Xhaka potentially going, would you change the system a little bit? Would you go to maybe 4-3-3, or do you think we've got to play with that number 10 because of having Smith Rowe?
I mean, I would like to play 4-2-3-1, but I'd be on playing 4-3-3. I think that's the modern day, man. That's why I want some number 8s. We should be able. Those 2 primary positions should be what we're on, in my opinion, guys, man.
Yeah. Lefefa said, interesting stat. Unai Emery, big chances created in 18-19, 78. Big chances this season, 45.
Wait, no excuses.
No excuses, mate. There's none.
That's the training ground. Like, that's all muscle memory. You know, the players on several occasions, we've had quality players out there individually, but they've not got it. When you see Lacazette, mainly Smith Rowe and Saka, why are they doing that? Because they've got an understanding. You know, that's what all these players should have. Attack shouldn't be Arsenal's problem. You know, we should be talking about only looking for replacing Aubameyang's goals. We shouldn't be. Attack shouldn't be an issue for this club. You know, we should be able to get away with not signing a striker or whatever this season, but we've not looked to solve that, man.
Yeah, it's a massive problem. And like you said, you do have to wonder why the attacking players have struggled so much this season under this manager, when you think Aubameyang was thriving the season before, even under Mikel Arteta. So it's funny that when you look back at that run when we won the FA Cup, we were playing 3 at the back. Do you think he looks back at that now and thinks, you know what, maybe I should have stuck with that 3 at the back a little bit longer? Because he did speak about wanting to go to 4, but we have done worse with 4 at the back.
I don't think this team can, because he focused so much of defending. I don't think we have a consistent plan, and I just think the mentality of our players, not too many of them. As much as I don't rate Xhaka too tough, he wants the ball. Not too. You see it all the time. You've got to want the ball. You've got to want to create. We don't have that, and I think our team's too easy to find out in that regards. So you're right on what you said, man.
Yeah, man. East Main said Willock would thrive in a 4-3-3 and get our if we was playing that system.
Yeah, it would. Because Willock's got legs, you know, he can run about and that.
Brooke the next said, DG, will you keep Willock or sell or loan?
As I keep saying, I'm open to everything. For me, I want to keep him. I think we can use him in our squad. But if we need to sell him to raise funds to bring in players that are at another level and things like that, I'm all for it. You know, there is another option of loaning him out and things, because I want 2 midfielders minimum. And I think Partey should play a lot. And Smith Rowe's going to have to play, primarily 10 for me. So it's going to be a bit difficult. There's no Europe. So all options are on the table. And I think for Arteta, for Joe and the club, everyone's got to have an honest conversation, because there's thinking with the heart, which is the right decision, and there's thinking with the brain. Joe's got to do what he thinks is right in terms of, can I play 38 Premier League games next season or close to that? If he believes he can get that at Arsenal, fair play. If not, we know what needs to be done, in my opinion.
I think if we went to 4-3-3, you could keep Joe. If he plays that 4-2-3-1, I don't think he'll get enough football at Arsenal. He's not getting in the pivot, and I don't like him in the 10. He's an 8, like we've spoke about before. But it's just what Newcastle are willing to pay, man. I think what people's estimations and values of players, I think, you know, it'll be 20-30% lower than that in general this summer, because teams have lost so much money. So we're saying 25. I think minimum 25 for Willock with a sell-on clause. But I reckon Newcastle will be around 20, something like that, maybe even a bit lower.
Yeah, man, they'll come in there and lowball. It's all tactics. It's what we're doing. It's like Roma trying to lowball us. Whatever players we're trying to go in through, our first offers probably won't be at value. You know, everybody's trying to save a box so they can do other things. So you're right in that regard. So yeah, man, I think we should be looking at 25, 30 million, you know, because we're not hustlers. We need to be able to ride off the back of somebody's form and get them out the window. I'm not saying to sell Joe, sell Callum Chambers or sell El Nene or Lacazette, all of them have done relatively all right at a point, and people might be thinking, oh, he's got a year left, let's take a chance on him. So maybe there's never been a better time. The only thing with Joe is hindsight will be the best thing. You've had some people say he's not good enough, then some people saying he should have went out on loan, then we were stupid for loaning him out, we'll be stupid for selling him if he stays and he doesn't excel. You know how football fans have a short memory. Chambers is flavour of the month, and I'm not saying he's not playing well, but it's all about making decisions and making them quickly, man. And again, it's like the question you asked me earlier. It comes down to the hustlers at the club, bro. It comes down to how good you want to hustle.
Yeah. Big up Vegas Gunner said, do you guys think we can get 25 million in total for Guendouzi and Torreira? The way they talk to the media seems to devalue them as assets. Surely we can get 25 for both of them.
You should be able to what? I think we'll get significantly lower for Torreira. Apparently Arsenal, I saw a report saying Arsenal value him at 13 million. Like his stocks, that's too low for me, but the stock's off the window. I think you should be able to at least get 20. We should be able to break even on Torreira, but again, that comes down to hustling, because he's not a bad player. He's just been in a bad way. Hustle. You give that man a game of football and everyone will be back to charting his name and things. Guendouzi, you need to sell that, like you said, threat potential in the future and whatnot. He came to Arsenal. He played a ridiculous amount of games as a kid. So it comes down to the hustlers, man.
I just think when I'm seeing reports that, we need to raise 60 million, if you've got a club willing to give you 20 to 25 for Joe Willock, and he doesn't fit in the system, I think we're in no position to reject it, because otherwise we end up with another Ainsley where we turn down 20 from Wolves, we keep him, don't play him, and then he devalues. I don't think you would struggle to probably get that 20 for Ainsley now after the season.
Yeah, unless somebody, you never know, people might make a chance. But yeah, you're in a weaker negotiating position this time. Well, not this time last year, but last year he got an England call up off the back of having a good final. We was talking about, was he staying or going? Now he's looking a bit like, I don't, do you know what? Funny enough, with the Xhaka thing coming out now, and maybe what happens with Joe, Maitland-Niles may be able to bag a little squad place here and there, but you'd imagine he's going to keep it moving.
Yeah, I think so. P. Trim said, DG, opinion on why Willock excelled at Newcastle?
Better fit for him, because, his strengths are up and down the field. They play a bit more expansive. Their game's a bit more open. It's less sort of technical than Arsenal. And I think people underestimate confidence. I'm not saying Arteta didn't give him confidence, but you can tell a man how good he is and have him training and whatnot. It's a different sort of feeling to be playing week in, week out, actually affecting the game, getting a buzz. I think confidence is a big thing in what people underestimate. So I'd say that as well. I'd say Steve Bruce is maybe giving him clarity, because it did feel like Joe was giving basic instructions, but at times giving too much instructions. Like he was just aimlessly pressing. Seems a bit more coordinated. And maybe it's the more responsibility he's got. Maybe he's just relished it and taking it in his stride. But I think confidence, man, personally.
You think it's freedom?
That as well, yeah. Freedom. Less clarity. Just go out there and do what you do best. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel with Joe. As much as I'm sitting there and saying, I think the problems with Joe is in a low block. Yeah, he can run in behind, but he's not a technical man. Some players, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Certain man, you have to accept them for what they are. It's like if you have a number 6 who isn't good playing out from the back, you don't try and necessarily always make a man able to do that. He's a guy to just win the ball back according to the game you throw him in. So maybe we just have to accept Joe for what he is, and the game, them sort of games where they're open, we throw him in for.
Yeah. Brock the next said, would you sell Pepe for 60 million to Tottenham? I wouldn't. Would you?
I wouldn't, because I'm not trying to give them a deal.
Yeah, you don't
want some money back, maybe. I'm playing.
What do you think about Pepe for next season, man? Finish the season well. If you look at the face of it on the stats, he's had a pretty good season. We know sometimes stats are a bit misleading, but he has a good run of form towards the end of the season.
And this is the thing, man. But the one thing I'm wary of is last season he had a strong end to it, and then I don't know what happened in pre-season. So I would like to see it with Pepe. I think Loki's been one of our better players. I think he's come into his own. Just get him a right back. Again, you cry about pre-season. Get a right back in early. Get the partnerships going. And that's it. And just play him, man. I think with Pepe, he's understood that there's more to this thing than just being good technically, because he's been having good flashes of brilliance. He's now heading, he's defending, he's doing it all. So just want to see more of that. Pick up where you left off next season, and for whatever Arteta and him are doing, keep it up.
Yeah. I think that right back thing is the key. I mean, you play at right back yourself, so that partnership with the right back, right winger. you affect each other if you don't, you know what I mean, work together. I think Bellerin hampers Pepe, whereas I think Cedric and even maybe Callum Chambers he's looked better playing next to them.
Even Maitland when he was here doing his thing. Anyone who goes forward has looked better with Pepe, and I think you'd agree. It's not a coincidence, like really.
Yeah. African Nations Cups in January. Do you think that is putting Arsenal off signing Basuma?
It might affect us, but I think it's one of them ways we should be able to deal with it, because it's not like we're having multiple cups. I know the FA Cup will play a part, but you should imagine we'd have the bodies. The problem is that half our midfielders are linked with moves away. Obviously, losing, I'd assume, potentially El Nene, Basuma, Pepe, and whoever, Partey, would be an issue. But maybe it's something you've got to consider, but we should be able to cope with it realistically, because, again, we're not playing in many things next year.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. And it was interesting today that a big Liverpool account came out and said that Liverpool are not interested in Basuma. So seems like it's wide open if we want it. But before I let you get out of here, I just wanted your opinion on this. Liverpool, Arsenal announced their 5 players for Player of the Season. Just one. Who do you think should win it? And are you surprised by the 5 names? Would you have added anyone different?
Not surprised by the 5 names, obviously. All at a point, Smith Rowe came into it in December. Tierney's Tierney. When fit, he does his thing. Pepe's had a strong finish. Lacazette's had a good second half of the season. For me, it's Bukayo Saka, man. Because shout out to everybody else. Even when Saka is playing poor, he's been on the next level. And for me, Saka has dragged this team to the point where it's unfair. Like, I want him to, we spoke about it, I want him to recharge mentally. For me, it's Bukayo Saka, man. It's 100% Bukayo Saka. What he's done for this team in any position, 10, defense, wing, right back at a time, Saka's there, man. He's pulled this team through, man. Saka for me, man. Shout out to everyone, though. I'd say Saka.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I think when this team was crumbling November times and that, he was standing up and being counted, he never went hiding. A lot of these guys in the team, they were disappearing. I do think he faded at the end of the season. But
he was burnt out.
Yeah, he's burnt out. He played for England. He played in every game for Arsenal. I think he's been a credit. And I hope he goes to the Euros, Do you think when they cut those 7 players, he'll still be in the 26?
Part of me thinks him, Greenwood, and a couple of the Greenwoods and hims, they'll be cut out because it's easy decisions for Southgate. But a part of me also feels, you look at Henderson and Maguire, their fitness may play something. For me, you take Saka. Like when you take Greenwood, you take Saka. No one expects Saka to start, but if need be, you can play fullback, you can use him. You've got that youthful exuberance. So I don't think he'll start. I don't think we all could start, but I think he should be in the squad. I think him, Bellingham, Greenwood, Foden, you bring all these youths, in my opinion.
I think the problem Saka's got is on that right-hand side, Foden's been playing there, Sancho plays there, Sterling can play there, Greenwood if he goes.
100%.
Like you said, the versatility might get him picked, but no, in terms of this list, I think Lacazette's had a decent season, but he shouldn't win it. Pepe's finished the season well, but the start of the season he wasn't playing a lot of the time. Smith Rowe's been good since he came in. And Tierney, is Tierney a little bit of a worry for you? Listen, we all know he's got the talent, but he's very, very injury prone, and he seems to have 2 or 3 injuries a season as well.
I mean, the way he plays, he wears his heart on his sleeve, so he's always going to pick up injuries. Some of them have been a bit unlucky. The problem for me is, like you said, man, we've got to guard against it. For me, the problem is when Tierney's not involved. As we know, there's not a suitable left back. There's too much of a drop-off. So 100%, man. The only thing that worries me is the fact that he's not. You can't really advocate for him being fit the whole season. 100%.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think Saka. Like you said, he definitely deserves to win that, man. But no, big up DG for coming through, man. I appreciate it. Over 1,100 people in here. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Go and subscribe to DG's channel as well. You got anything on today? Anything you want to let them know about? Or you?
No, man. I've done a live stream earlier where I was speaking about Xhaka and all the things that we've kind of spoken about here. So if you've loved the chat, go and hit that up. But tomorrow, like you, probably doing this a Champions League watch along. But today, kicking my feet up, man. I'm done, man.
Who do you think wins the Champions League tomorrow?
Bro, trying to talk City into existence. Leicester did their job. Villarreal did their job. City do your job. I ain't got no beef with them. Chelsea having it twice. Come on, man. It's a long
Do you know what? As I said, shameless FC again, yeah. Like, if it ends up being City title, City Champions League, Villarreal Europa, Leicester FA Cup, we ain't suffered that much there, have we? You know, we can live with that.
That is shameless.
It's shameless, man, but that's all we got right now, man.
It's
you know,
true, yeah. You're right. We can't have anything else.
If Chelsea win tomorrow, bro, you might not see me putting out videos for a little while.
I don't want them to win, but something tells me they're going to do something bugged. But surely, Pep, this is everything you've been building for City. It's been I don't care what no one tells me. He wanted. They said you got to win us the Champions League, or we're going to win the Champions League. It might happen regardless of tomorrow, but surely it's destiny tomorrow, man. Surely Pep brings out all the party tricks and confirms it going through, man. But I think Chelsea might move Buki tomorrow, man.
I don't know if you've seen it. Man City and Chelsea fans are fighting in Portugal, bro. Hooligans going wild.
Okay, now, man. And we've just got allowed back in stadiums as well. Some things never change, eh? Bloody hell.
Out, man. But yeah, listen, you might see me singing Blue Moon tomorrow on the watch along, mate.
I might have to wear a Sterling shirt, man. Get away with it. It must be nice
Jamaican shirt, man. Yeah. No, we're shameless, man, but that's all we got right now, man. I can't have Chelsea winning. If Chelsea go 1-0 up, I'll worry because he can look after a lead, man. But City go 1-0 up, I think they'll beat them.
That's what I hope for. But same way, slightly City give you bare chances, you know. As good as they are defensively, PSG, they did give chances. I think they do give chances. They got good defenders. I think it should be open and good for the neutral still. I'm shook,
imagine if Werner scored the winner after missing all them chances all season.
Locks off the banter for himself, doesn't he?
It's madness. You might see Foden on the green screen. I'm telling you.
Trust me, I'm going with Sterling still, but
yard bad, innit? Gaza tick.
Trust me.
Big up DG for coming through. Like I said, everyone, like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit up DG's channel, subscribe to that.
Come on.
We'll be back. We'll do something next week again.
100%.
Yeah, no, big up everyone.